journée. Un immense merci du fond du cœur. We could not expect such a gift today. Thank you for this engaging speech. I will now introduce our next speaker of honor. Born in Davao, Justice Antonio Carpio obtained his law degree from the College of Law of the University of the Philippines. Fresh out of law school, Justice Carpio went into private practice and founded the Carpio de la Raza and Cruz law firm. He was a professional lecturer of the UP College of Law until 1992. He was appointed Chief Presidential Legal Counsel with cabinet rank, Office of the President of the Philippines. For his distinguished and exemplary service to the Republic, Justice Carpio was awarded in 1998 the Presidential Medal of Merit by then President Fidel Ramos. Justice Carpio was sworn in as a member of the Supreme Court of the Philippines on October 26, 2001. He served in the Supreme Court for 18 years, retiring in 2019. He was conferred a Doctor of Laws honoris causa by the Ateneo de Davao University in 2009, then by the University of the Philippines in 2020, and by the Ateneo de Manila University in 2021. On October 29, 2011, as guest speaker at the 50th founding anniversary of the Ateneo de Davao College of Law, Justice Carpio launched his advocacy in favor of Philippines' territorial claims before a tribunal under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and was sponsored by the Department of Foreign Affairs to speak in think tanks and universities in no less than 17 countries. In May 2017, Justice Carpio published a book titled The South China Sea Dispute, Philippine Sovereign Rights and Jurisdiction in the West Philippine Sea. The floor is yours.
For those kind words. You know, when I asked Mel to wait for the map, I said, Mel, you are a Velarde. You must be a descendant. Father Pedro Murillo Velarde. And he bought the map. The 1734 Pedro Murillo Velarde map. On the screen, this is the first map that gave a name to Scarborough Shoal, a Tagalog word, panakot, which means danger. So, panakot appeared in previous maps, but without a name. It was Father Pedro Murillo Velarde who first gave the name here. Panakot. Why panakot? Because if you are the captain of a ship and you don't know where panakot is, your ship will run aground on the shoals of Panakot, and that's exactly what happened to a British peacekeeper ship in 1748, ran aground. The ship was called Scarborough, and years later, the European cartographers renamed the shoal as Scarborough Shoal. And this map of Father Pedro Murillo Velarde is also the first map that gave a name to the Spratlys. The Spratlys appeared in previous maps without a name. It was Father Pedro Murillo Velarde who gave it a name, Los Bajos de Paragua, the shoals of Paragua. Paragua was the name of Palawan during the Spanish regime. It was named Palawan only during the American regime. Now, the map shows that it's very clear that the Scarborough Shoal or Panakot, Spratlys or Los Bajos de Paragua were part of Philippine territory way back in 1734. There's Scarborough Shoal or Panakot, and there's Spratlys or Los Bajos de Paragua. Now, this map, the 1734 Pedro Murillo Velarde map, is the only official map issued by the Spanish government during the entire Spanish regime in the Philippines. So Spain only had one official map of the Philippines, and this is it. This is an official map because the King of Spain instructed the Governor General at the time, Governor Fernando Valdez Camon, to make a map of Philippine territory, and Governor Camon commissioned Father Pedro Murillo Velarde to make the map, and Father Pedro Murillo Velarde commissioned Nicolas de la Cruz Bagay, Filipino, to engrave the map, and Francisco Suarez, another Filipino, to draw the map. And you can see the name of both Suarez and Bagay in the map. And the map of 44 by 47 inches is called the mother of all Philippine maps. Now, why is it called the mother of all Philippine maps? For two reasons. First, this map, being a very accurate map, has been widely copied by other cartographers. So you will see here in several maps, exactly the same map made by the famous French cartographer of the 18th century, Jacques Baptiste Danville. He was a royal cartographer of France. You have George Lowitz of Germany, who made the map. Also, several. Antonio Zata of Italy also made a map. It was widely copied. Also, Governor General Tamon himself made a copy of the map with the Salakot. And the second, and more importantly, this is a mother of all Philippine maps because this is a living document. And this is the new thing that I want to emphasize. It is a living document because it determines Philippine territory today. You cannot determine Philippine territory without reference to this map. That's why when this map came out for auction, I was informed by Anne-Marie Corominas that it's up for auction. I had talked to Mel Velarde because I said we need this map because this map determines Philippine territory today. And the Philippine government has no copy of this map. There's none. And this is the first copy of the Philippine government that you get from Mr. Mel Velarde because Mr. Mel Velarde is donating this to the Philippine government. Now, there is a cartouche on the upper left side of the upper right side of the map, and this is the coat of arms of the Crown of Spain, and this indicates that this is an official map of the Spanish government. As I said, it was made upon the instruction of King Philip of Spain, and so that cartouche is proof that this is an official map of Philippine territory in 1734. And the map shows the route of the Spanish galleon. The Spanish galleons would enter from the Pacific, it would enter the San Bernardino Strait, it would go up to Mindoro and enter Manila Bay. And going out on the return trip, it will go to the right side, Bataan, Zambales, Pangasinan, and upon reaching the tip of Luzon, it will turn right to go to the Pacific. Now, there is an island there, Fuga Island. It is the last stop of the galleon. Now, from Fuga Island, it will take the galleon about 4 months to reach Acapulco. And so they have to stop over at Fuga Island to get water and other provisions. Fuga Island is about 10,000 hectares, a little bigger than Hong Kong. And it was the encomienda of the Dominican order, the order of the preachers. And I used to go there to hunt. And on a hill facing Apari, because Fuga Island is a barrio of Apari, municipality of Apari, there is a beautiful church built by the Dominicans, overgrown with vines, with trees, and the walls are 1 meter thick. And it was something beautiful. You would wonder how come there's such a beautiful church there. It's because that was the bastion of the Dominican order. And what is strange is that at the basement of the church are prison cells. And that I said that connected with the name of the island, Fuga. Why? Because that was the last stop of the galleon. Those who were afraid to cross the Pacific on a long voyage would jump ship. And the Dominicans would order their people to catch these fugitives, and that's how the island got its name, Fuga. And also, if you read the book on the galleon trade, part of the people that were transported by the galleons from the Philippines to Acapulco were slaves. And these slaves probably also jumped ship in that area. Now, from Acapulco to Manila, the galleons would carry metal products from Europe. These metal products came from Spain, brought all the way to Veracruz, on the other side of Mexico, and the Mexican Gulf of Mexico. It will take 4 months from Acapulco to Manila, and silver from Bolivia, potassium mines, still the largest deposit of silver mines today, will be brought to Acapulco and loaded on the galleon ship. And this silver would be used to pay the Chinese junks that would bring porcelain and silk. So the junks from Fujian province and other parts of China would go to Manila with their porcelain, very expensive porcelain and silk, and they would be paid in silver. And also spices from Indore, from Ternate would be brought to Manila and loaded on the galleon ship. And the ship would now sail following the gyre. You know, this is the Atlantic gyre. It was discovered by the Portuguese. That's why the Portuguese were very famous explorers. The gyres are movements of the wind and the current. It's a circular movement of wind and current caused by the airflow of the air and the atmosphere and the rotation of the earth. So there's a movement, the currents and the air would push the ship. These are ships with sails, so it's very fast. And there is also a gyre here in the northern Pacific. So the Legazpi use this route to go to Manila, and when Legazpi arrived, one of their objectives was to find the return route, the Tuna Viaje, to look for that return route so that they can easily go back to Mexico from Manila. And that route was found by Father Andres de Ordaneta. He is an Agustinian priest. He sailed off the coast of Japan, and he found the return route. So the winds here, the winds from the west, we call it westerlies, would push the ship, and the easterlies, the winds from the east, would push the ship. So it's a circular movement. And that's how we had this galleon trade. It was the first global trade by sea. And Manila was the center of this trade. Because these galleons were huge, the largest ships at the time, about 1,700 to 2,000 tons and 50 meters in length. So these were huge ships, mostly built in Sandy, using Filipino craftsmen. So this was the center of world trade at the time. Manila was the center of world trade, and silver flowed from Acapulco, Manila to China, because China, the currency of China was silver, and the porcelain and silk flowed to Acapulco and reached all the way to Europe. So from Acapulco, the goods would be carried overland by mules to Veracruz, where you loaded on Spanish treasure ships to stop over in Havana and go to Seville. So that's the first global trade by sea. And it's really the maritime Silk Road at that time. And Manila was the center of all of this. Now, if you look at the map, there are about 600 towns of the Philippines at that time, in 1734, and you will see the names of all of these towns. It's inscribed there. When the map appeared in Europe, it was state of the art. It was like Google looking at the Philippines. It was a cool map. It was so detailed that they were amazed with this map. Now, back to Scarborough, Shoal, and the Spratlys. Now, as I said, the Spratlys appeared in older maps, and this is the map made by Nicolas Sanson. Nicolas Sanson is the father of French cartography. He was also appointed the king's cartographer, and he made a map of the Philippines in 1657, and he placed there the Spratlys as part of the Philippines. And in 1752, another royal cartographer of France, the very well-known Jean-Baptiste d'Anville, made also a map of Asia. And in his map, he copied the map of Pedro Murillo Velarde and named Scarborough Shoal as Panacot. Copied the name. And also, Los Pajos de Paraguay is here. He also copied the name. So, that's why it's often said that a map is a copy of another previous map. And that happens only if the map is a very accurate and popular map. And of course, Father Pedro Murillo Velarde made a very accurate map because when he made the map, he commissioned all the Jesuit missions all over the country, and he commissions all the parish priests to draw a map of the coastline, the names of their towns, and he gathered all of this to make the map. Now, France, you will be surprised to know, annexed the Spratlys in 1933, and Vietnam now is saying, oh, we succeeded France to the Spratlys in ownership. But it's not true because France annexed the Spratlys as part of the French Union, part of overseas France. There's a difference. The colonies are different from the territories of the overseas union. The overseas union are part of the mainland territory of France, and the inhabitants of overseas territories are French citizens. They can vote in French elections, but the colonies cannot. The inhabitants of the colonies. So Vietnam cannot use the French annexation of the Spratlys 1933 to claim the Spratlys. Now, this is a map of Father Coronelli, 1688. Coronelli was a Father General of the Franciscan Order. The Franciscans arrived in the Philippines in 1578. And all of these religious orders that came to the Philippines would send periodic reports to the Vatican. These are the new towns that have been opened, these are the new islands that have been occupied. And Father Coronelli was there in the Vatican, and he collected all of this, and he drew a map of the Philippines. And he drew lines, everything within the lines within the Philippine territory, and you will see he also included the Spratlys as within the Philippine territory. So there are so many maps depicting that the Spratlys are part of the Philippines. But it was only Pedro Velarte who stated the name of Laos de Parag. Now, in 1792, the famous Spanish explorer Alexandro Malaspina came to Manila. You know, in 1700s, in the late 1700s, the three great naval powers, United Kingdom, France, and Spain, competed with each other to conduct scientific surveys, exploration of their possessions all over the world. The British sent Captain James Cook on a scientific mission to gather specimens of flora and fauna and to chart the British waters of its overseas territories. The French sent also their famous explorer, Jacques Leparouse,